And then the other point is, how does Zazen, how does doing Zazen here, for example, relate to kind of what happens outside later, when we go home or whatever it is, we go to work and so on. And the basic theory is that when we do Zazen like this, or at home in the morning, we after, like I say, after we practice for 20 minutes or 30 minutes or whatever, we feel more balanced. Generally, we just kind of feel a bit inner balance, I suppose you might call it. Now, Nishijima Roshi has a theory that it's related to our autonomic nervous system, that our nervous system, swings back and forth from two sides. But that when we do Zazen, we kind of get balance in the middle. So whatever way you want to call it, in Buddhism we talk about kind of the balanced state, or harmony between body and mind. We feel a kind of balance between our body and mind. And the idea is that when we're balanced like that, our own action is better, or is right. So we're not getting too distracted by other things. So whatever actions we do during the day are the right actions. And Buddhism even goes a little bit further, and it talks about what it calls the rule of the universe, or the Dharma, or the law of the universe, or the moral law of the universe. There's lots of different interpretations for this Dharma. But the basic idea is that there's this kind of universal law right through the universe. In the same way as gravity exists, if you drop something, it'll always fall down. That's wherever you are, that'll happen, unless you're in outer space. But, in the same way, there's a kind of Buddhism talks about Dharma as a universal law that it runs through the universe. And the idea being that when we're balanced like that, our action is kind of in tune with the universal law. Now, this is a very difficult thing to believe, so to speak, or to grasp, because it's kind of flaky and kind of silly and kind of ridiculous. And Nishijima Roshi used to talk about it as a universal criterion. He used to always use the word criterion. That when we're balanced, we can act in accordance with this universal law. That our action is in accordance with the universe, and things like that. And I used to have a very hard time with that, because I used to say to him, so you're saying that this law actually exists, but we can't see it. And he said, no, we can't see it, but we can notice it. If we do Zazen and so on, we can notice this universal law. And it took me a while, but I could after a while, I could kind of see what he was talking about. That if you do Zazen regularly, your action becomes better in the sense that it becomes in accordance with the universe. So, and Buddhism, in Buddhism, there's a famous story that one master or one student asked the master, what is the meaning of Buddhism? Was kind of the question. And the master answered him that, what is the Buddha's teachings? What is the meaning of the Buddha's teachings? And the master answered him, to do right, not to do wrong, naturally purifies the mind. This is the teaching of the Buddhas. So basically, to do right and not to do wrong, that naturally purifies your mind, and that is the teaching of the Buddhas. So Buddhism is basically about doing right and not doing wrong. And it's very simple when you talk about it, but when you actually try to practice it, it's quite difficult. How do you know what's right and how do you know what's wrong in every situation? And even though you might think that what you're doing is right, it might in fact be wrong. So sometimes you have to work that out. But Nishijima's opinion or idea is that when we're balanced like that, when we do our Zazen and our body and mind are balanced, are in harmony, our action is naturally right, that it's in tune with the universal law, so that it will be right. And of course, it doesn't always work like that, but that's the idea. So the connection between doing Zazen here and the real world outside is that our action in the real world will be right action. It won't be wrong action. So that's one part of Zen.